All right, we're going to check out this Smith & Wesson M&P 5.7 today. It's chambered in the 5.7 by 28 millimeter cartridge. I'm really looking forward to testing this out. I've heard it's got some kind of like roller or delayed blowback system or something like that. I'll throw the proper terminology up on the screen. So even though this is already an extremely light recoiling round, honestly, it feels about like shooting 22 mag, just quite a bit louder. This one's supposed to have about the lightest recoil of them all due to that action up in there. So can't wait to try that out. I want to give a big thanks to my friend Brad for loaning this for the review and the ammo. He's got a Holosun mounted up on there, a little red dot, and these are hand loads, so hopefully it's not going to have any issues cycling with the extra weight. That is something you can run into with the 5.7 once you add the optic. Some of them, I'm not saying this one particular, this brand or anything, but I've seen some have cycling issues. You got to use heavier loads. I think these are 40 grain loads anyway, so it should be okay as long as the hand loads are hot enough. So you got your tack rail there. We'll check out the trigger in a little bit and do a trigger weight on it. Mag release, looks like you can probably flip it around to ambi. Slide lock, slide release there, ambi. You do have a threaded muzzle there. And, you know, I don't honestly know the capacity other than it's marked 22 right there. If they hold more than that, I'll be sure to throw that up. Can't do that one-handed. There we go. Let's see what else that we got on here. Doesn't look like any safety. I don't know if they're all like that. Got some lightning cuts for the slide there. Good M&P texturing on the grip and the slide serrations. So we'll start out here about 7 yards on the target, see where she's hitting. I will not adjust the optic because I'm not the one that zero, unless it's like terrible, because everybody's a little different. So we'll see where the point of impact is so we can get strikes on our steel down here. And later in the video, I should be running down to the rifle range, and we might try some 100-yard shots, 50 to 75 at least for sure. But typically 5.7 is usually pretty good 100-yard cartridge as far as accuracy and bullet drop goes out of pistols. So we'll see if we have time to try that today.
Going for the top dot.
Every one of those is hitting the car that the camera's on. I was going for the top dot, seems to be about dead on. All right, doesn't seem to be any cycling issues right now. Some of these will not knock over with that little 5.7 though. The energy, not to mention the, what's the terminology? Just basically the mass of the bullet is too little. So some of these it will not knock over here. Some of them you won't even see wiggle, some of them you will. I was trying to hit the tippy tops, which I did there. If you hit them at the very top, better leverage and you can get them to knock over.
Eyes and ears I'm wearing today are by Shell Shock. They're the most comfortable pair of each I've ever put on my head. Highly recommend them. There's a link to each under the video.
Alright, see if we can get some trigger reads for you guys. Well, she don't want to fit. 3 pounds, 15 ounces, to say that's pretty good. Say it didn't feel heavy or anything. Definitely feels lighter than a Glock or M&P trigger. Yeah, see, it's already pressing against it because it barely fits in there. 4 pound 3, so coming in about 4 even there on average, I would say. I know it's not quite the average technically, but you know what I mean. About 4 pounds there, maybe a little under. And as for the operation of said trigger, there's your take up there, and we'll pull through. Really no creep, like maybe the very slightest amount. So, I mean, if you only apply a light pressure and you pull a little harder, it comes a little further back, but basically that's the wall if I apply enough pressure, and then we'll pull through again. Yeah, like virtually no creep. So nice break. Actually, let me get the reset. Short reset too. Yeah, pretty dang good trigger on this guy. So it seems like every time I insert the mag, the slide automatically rides home. Some people like that, some don't. It doesn't really bother me. I mean, it's a little quicker in a combat scenario anyway, so. And we're out of battery. Well, those first mags, whoa! I think those first mags were factory loads, and then these are the hand loads, but he will probably want to see this. That's the one I just ejected. So, yeah. So we might have issues with these. Good idea after that to get any powder out of there. It's out of battery again. Alright, let me work on this. Gotta get this one ejected here. It's stuck. I gotta say though, I'm not really noticing any less recoil with this guy over my Rock PSA 5.7. I got a review video on that too if you want to check it out. I will link that in the video description or under the video /more or whatever it says. But honestly, to me, recoil seems about the same. And one thing I'm noticing though, it is like really front heavy, so it's actually not quite as steady for me down there, because see how the nose is wobbling on me a little bit there? So the front's not quite as steady, at least in my hands, because that front heavy nose there, my Rock ain't like that. So, and I'm not noticing any difference in recoil. It seems about the same. I'm like, maybe it's a little softer of a push. The Rock's more like real fast, but 5.7 cartridge is real light recoil, so I prefer the recoil impulse on my PSA Rock 5.7. So, but overall, I would say it's about the same. There's no significant reduction. It is a different impulse. But yeah, that's the other thing I noticed. I mean, it's plenty steady, but it is a little front heavy there. So obviously I'm a little more steady with two hands gripping on it, but I did notice there's a little bit of wobble in the front end because like all the weight's in the front of this thing. It's not balanced very well. Alright, we're going to try to stand behind the camera here, shoot those bowling pins down. This is kind of emulate a headshot back there. According to my rangefinder, those ones are about 13 yards away. And then those guys there are 17 yards. If you guys are looking to get yourself a good budget rangefinder, I've been using this one for years. Link in the description, comes in well under $100. I love it. Alright, we'll start on the right and the closer ones, obviously. We'll try to hit the meat of them. If they don't fall, then I'll try to get a tippy top hit, which the very top of that bowling pin, after the neck, the very tippy top, it's about 1 7/8 inch wide, if I remember correctly. That one miss was my fault. I rushed that shot a little. Yeah, this thing is a freaking tag driver. This is a headshot's no problem. Not going slow at all. I got a little jam here with those hand loads I gotta clear. I'll probably fast forward the video there just to give this safety message. It took me a second looking. I watched the ejection, and at first I wasn't finding one with a bullet still in it. You'll need to check your barrel and bore if that occurs to make sure the bullet's not lodged down in the barrel. That would be bad, but I found it. So we should be good to continue here. I'm going to try to hit that one. This is freehand shooting 17 yards on a 2-inch target. I'm going to try to hit that very tippy top there, that bowling pin. Alright, there we go. Had to do a very slow pull through of the trigger like I was shooting a rifle long range. But yeah, that dot was wiggling all over the head of that thing, and sometimes my dot was coming off the side of the tip of that bowling pin. So again, that's that long heavy nose there being front heavy causing me to wiggle. I know it's 2 inches at 17 yards, but still. I shoot pistols for a living on this channel, so yeah, this one's not quite as steady. The front end's wobbling around on me. And again, it could just be me, and it might not be a problem for other people, but I had to really slow down on that shot to hit that 2-inch target at 17 yards. But let's finish these off here.
So we got her down on the rifle range here. Got my 16-inch gong down there at 100 yards. Again, rangefinder confirmed. Link in the description for that budget rangefinder. And we'll see what we can do. Alright, so pay attention to the different pitch of sounds when these impact the steel down here. This thing has been abused and hit with stuff it's not supposed to be hit with. It's actually a 1/4 inch. So when it was new, it rang really good. But depending on where I hit it, it can be quiet or loud. So pay attention to that here and keep that in mind for the zoomed out shots when I tell you it's a hit. Also, I'm dealing with some more jams from those hand loads again, so that's why you will see some cuts in this footage. Also, I'm not the only marksman down here today, so not every shot is my shot. You will see if I miss, even if it hits the grass. So these all gave a pretty good ring except for that second shot, but it can hit it and sound worse than that second shot. You hear that loud whack sound there? That was a hit. As was that one. Again, it just depends on where it hits the gong. Now see, that one rang a little bit better there. And some of them that miss, they're still hitting stuff down there in the dirt mound, so they still make a pretty decent whack sound. But it's louder when it hits the gong in a bad spot that doesn't ring. But I can tell the difference, especially since I'm the one making the shots. I know which one is which. Oh, and if you couldn't tell, I decided to be ballsy here and try to do it freehand standing. And I did pretty well considering this is the first time I've ever shot this pistol. Got a little more used to it and decided to try just a little bit harder here. So clearly she's 100-yard accurate. Once I got used to it off the rest, I mean, I could do 10 out of 10 without missing, no problem whatsoever. So I believe from a rest, I could probably actually achieve 95% hits at 150 yards with this thing. Further backing that is the fact that I can do this free-handed standing at 100 yards. So yeah, this thing's a little tack driver.
Yeah, that does it there. Obviously, this thing's a tack driver, but I mean, then again, most 5.7 pistols are. Other than these hand loads, I'm sure it would have been 100% reliable. Again, sometimes with a optic mounted on a 5.7, if you're running a real light, like 27 grain stuff, it might not cycle very well for you. You need those 40 grain bullets like we shot today. But yeah, I'm sure this thing would be 100% reliable with factory loaded 40 grain pills in her. The mags are a little hard to load. Once you get past 10, you got to push really hard to start getting them to snap in there, especially as you get close to 20 there. But it does come with a mag assist, mag loader, so it's not really an issue. It comes with a little piece to help you out there, but I'm stubborn and I like doing it by thumbs. If you do it just with thumbs, it does get pretty difficult as you get closer and closer to that 20 plus round capacity there. What do we say? It holds like 22, 23, something like that. Overall, I mean, like I said, my only real negative is that for me, it's front heavy. So the back of the gun is real light, and then the front of it is kind of heavy. So it's not the most steady thing for me. Free-handed it. The heavier front ends always cause me to, I don't know why, wobble a little bit. Again, maybe it's just me. Maybe other people have that issue too. I'm not sure. But long front heavy pistols are always less steady for me. Ideally, you want a well-balanced, well-weighted pistol. So it's a very minuscule thing, because obviously we had no issues just tack driving with the thing. I just know I could do better if it was balanced a little more 50-50 front to rear there. But I will say, and it's not a comparison video, I think I do prefer my PSA Rock 5.7. Again, I'll link that video in the description if you want to go check that one out. It's also a lot more affordable. But I can tell you, I've shot the Ruger 5.7, I've shot the Rock, and I've shot this one now. This is definitely the best quality one I've shot. I have not shot the FNs, but this one's definitely a lot better build quality. It just feels overall like it's just a lot nicer gun. The tolerances are tighter other than this. But that doesn't really bother me. You know, it's got the best, again, out of those three, it's got the best stippling and all that. Probably the best grip. Definitely the best trigger. The trigger on this thing is fantastic, especially compared to the Ruger. My Rock does have a nice crisp trigger, but it's a little bit heavy. So this one definitely has better build quality than those other two, and definitely has the best trigger. I just don't like the balance the most. I love the balance on my Rock. So yeah, I love it. On my budget and my preference is the Rock 5.7, but this is definitely an excellent pistol. And if you want a 5.7 and you got the few hundred extra bucks and you're a Smith fan, definitely grab your Smith. It's the nicest 5.7 I've shot of the three. I just wish it was balanced a little bit better. But thanks for stopping by and checking this one out today, guys. Really appreciate it. If you want to get yourself any of the products you see me use in my videos, like my target stand there, targets I use, steel targets, safety glasses, earmuffs, way more. Links in the description for all that. And for things I cannot link to on YouTube, make sure you check out my campsite page. That's also linked under the video or in my about section.
Make sure you check out my Rock and Ruger 5.7 videos. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you on the next one.